50 and 92.9 WAME.
Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm.
If you don't know our host, David Hamm, he's a 25-year NASCAR veteran, engine builder, and jackman.
Live every Monday evening, we have a new guest
From the racing world with their stories, their paths,
Their
racing roots.
sponsored by Jersey Cape Yachts.
Now here.
And good evening, everyone. And now here's our host, David Hamm, is what it was going to say. I was running a little bit behind this evening as not, what's always... That's the way it is about every Monday, just about. But today was a little bit worse than usual. But I am really excited about this show. I'm usually excited about the shows, but I've got some legends in here amongst us.
Where are they at?
He's looking around for
Yes, I've got Traci and Phil. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, hey, I get introduced first. This is the first time ever.
I know, it is the first time ever.
That's
I'm
appropriate, ladies first.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, y'all. Y'all know Traci and Phil. You hear them every Monday evening, but we got Don Miller and John Dodson in here with us. Yay!
Yay.
So glad to have y'all on. John's back. John's been in before. Mm-hmm. And Don's actually been on the morning show with us. It's been a little while back. It was before the big car show you had going on.
Yeah,
The Amazing Race.
Yeah, we did that race for old cars. Remember that? Mm-hmm. The Great Race.
The Great Race. It was a great night in Mooresville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my! It was the biggest crowd they ever had.
Oh, wow. So I wanted to come down for that, and I ended up not being able to make it, of course. And but I heard that the first car rolled in, I think it's around 5:30 or something.
Yeah, you're
Thereabouts.
looking at the first
That
car.
was the
We
first
came
car.
in from Virginia. Yeah.
Okay.
Had my wife with me and my daughter, and our 40 Ford with a flat head in it, all steamed up, rolling in.
What's the name of that car, Don? The Pride of Mooresville?
Yeah, it's a Spirit of
the
Mooresville.
Spirit of Mooresville, that's right.
Yeah. That was a cool car. What kind of car was that?
It was a 40 Ford Coupe with a hopped-up flathead in it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
got to hop it up.
250 air conditioning.
Yeah, yeah, right.
50 mile an hour with two windows down.
That's right. Yes. That's it. And speaking of hopped up, do you still have Traci's dad's car in the museum?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Traci's dad and I have been friends for 50 years.
How about that?
It's frightening, isn't it?
Small world, yes.
I'm surprised there's a lot of people that would like to find out where we live. No.
Yeah. I was saying, you've been friends as almost, well, a little bit less
Before
than
you
how
were
long?
born.
Well, I'm 51.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Close.
so anyway, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very good.
it's a good guy.
Yeah. So Kenny Thompson's who we're talking about. Of course, he's they say a genius fabricator, pretty much, or just a
Great fabricator. He's a master fabricator. Really good.
Yeah.
I thought I was close to him, so I saw a lot of things he did, and I almost took him for granted. And then one day, I saw Kenny over in the corner. He was at the shop, and he was reading this book, and he's on. See that, Don? I said, yeah. He said, I'm going to build one. I said, yeah, okay.
From the
it
book.
was, yeah. And it was a GT40, like, you saw the movie, right?
Yeah.
Ford versus Ferrari. One of those cars. And I said, well, there's a lot of those out there, plastic one. He said, no, I'm going to build one exactly like they built it. Mm-hmm. And he went to the people in England and acquired the original drawings and had them blown up to full size and tacked them up on the wall and started building a car.
Oh, nice.
And he did every bolt and rivet exactly like the original. It was the most beautiful thing you ever wanted to see.
And he built 7, right?
He's built 7 of them eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
That's passion right there, man.
Oh, yeah. You know it is.
He didn't do it for money. He did it. He's just passion.
Took him, 3+ years to build them?
Yeah.
Over 3 years.
Which is amazing.
And
Really?
it was funny because he did it like his own little factory, if he was going to build 5 cars, he built 5 sets of running boards, 5 sets of doors. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And you'd go over there and you could actually see the progress. I could over
Sure.
the months, see it. But he's one of a kind. One of a kind.
Thank you.
I wish I'd have been around whenever that was going on. That would have been something to see.
I appreciate
You know,
it.
Well, he had pretty race cars, man. You bring them to the racetrack, and you know Kenny had worked on them. It was quality.
yeah, I took him over to Bill
Bill
Ryan's
Ryan's.
shop, where he's got the 65 or 67 old restored race cars. And so Kenny walks in and he starts looking at the old 2 car, the Rod Osterlund Dale Earnhardt car, and he starts saying, "I put the floor pans in this car." And he starts talking about
I
something
don't want
about
to tell everything he did just because.
well, he started talking about something about a T-tops or something in a race car and different things like that. You know,
Different modifications he had done to it.
it's
Amazing how your memory comes back. I think this past year I've had 2 old number 27 cars that people have brought to me to see. Can I come and bring it to NASCAR Tech and you look at this car and verify, you know, and sometimes you're able to verify them, sometimes you're not. You know, if you worked on it and, you know, the things you did then. It's amazing how far we've come.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, it's sometimes very dangerous to say to the guy, "I'm sorry, pal, this isn't the car."
I had to do it too. I said, I cannot confirm. There's one I was like, I pretty much confirmed this one, but, you know, sorry, I can't confirm this.
Right.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah.
He still gave me a T-shirt.
that was nice. Yeah, I actually put a video together today. That was actually one of the reasons why I was running late. And I put a video together to do like to show it before the show comes on. It's about 2 minutes long. And it's when you were talking about Tim Richmond last time you were on the show. So I put pictures to it and whatever. So I hope y'all enjoyed that before the show started.
Well, Dave,
Yes.
is it okay if we ask Mr. Don how he got his start?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's roll into it. That's what the racing roots is all
Now,
about.
wait a minute.
Yes.
I start at what?
Your start
It
into
was on
NASCAR.
horses, wasn't it? Wasn't it horses?
On horse buggy.
Said, yeah, me and this guy with blonde hair, I think his last name was Custer.
Oh, yeah. General Custer?
No.
Y'all ran into some natives.
I guess
Anyway.
when they say, how did you get your start? Well, I guess in NASCAR is what we're talking about, Tracy.
You need to talk
Or
about
racing.
Yeah, you need to talk about your drag racing days and being in Chicago and all that.
That's
Well-
right. We want to hear it all.
No, you don't.
No, you don't want to hear all of it.
Anyway, I was always a drag racer, and you know, I really enjoyed doing it. And then I always had a regular job as well, just to support my habit, right?
Right. You had to pay for it.
And one of the things that, like we were talking earlier, you have another job, and then you had the job that you did because you liked it, and so I was I was working with the buying department at Sears in automotive,
Okay.
and one of the head buyers there was a guy by the name of Bill Gensler. And he said, "Don, you know so much about cars. You need to meet this guy that we're going to hire to be our man in automotive." And I said, "Well, I don't know what exactly that means." And he goes, "Well, he's a racer, and you know he does a lot of really good things, and we really want you to meet him." And okay. I said, "Where are we going to go meet him?" And he said, "Well, we're going to go up in the Northeast to one of the Trans Am races." Well, you know, I was a drag racer. I didn't know
Right.
what Trans Am was, you know. So I said, "Okay, we'll do that." And he got us a flight, and we flew up to Connecticut and went to the Trans Am race. And he said, "I want you to meet this fellow now." And of course, I knew immediately who the driver was because I had followed him. You know, it was Mark Donahue, you know. But I had never met the guy that owned the car. And it was Roger Penske.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So he said, "Yeah, we're going to do this 5-year deal with Sears Roebuck, and we're going to be the father and godfather of the Die-Hard battery and the All-State tires." And of course, back then I had gone to Indy when they had the All-State tires at Indy, you know. That was a fateful weekend. But anyway, one thing led to another, and we got a chance to sit down and talk for a little bit. And, you know, I really liked Roger right off the bat. He, you know, he's a straightforward guy. He didn't pull any punches. You know, if he wanted to know something, he just flat out asked you.
That's right.
You know, he didn't dance around the fire at all. And he said, you know, what we ought to do someday is, he said, you ought to come to the shop. And he said, maybe eventually go to work with me. And I said, really? Well, I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing right now, you know. And I guess that kind of shocked him. And he said, after that, he said, have you ever been to Reading, Pennsylvania? And I said, no. And he said, well, that's where our shop is. So I went there eventually, you know, saw it and spent some time with Mark. And he said, you know, Roger really wants you to come to work here. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, but, you know, I don't want to come to Reading. I just moved my family to St. Louis about 1.5 years ago. My kids are going to school. And so this went on back and forth for about maybe 2 years.
Wow.
And one night, the phone rang, and it was Roger. It was about 10 o'clock at night. And he said, hey, Don. And I said, yeah. He said, it's Roger. I said, I know. And he said, he said, you know what I'm going to ask you? And I said, yeah, I know what you're going to say, and I'm going to have to tell you the same thing I always tell you. And he said, what if I told you you could stay right there in St. Louis and travel, and you didn't have to come to Reading? I said, well, that'd be different. And he said, so, and like I said, he gets right to the point. He goes, so when do you want to start? And this is, believe it or not, this is the truth. I said, how about 2 weeks? And he said, 2 weeks, done. I never asked a man what I was going to make. I never asked him where, you know, what I was. I didn't, you know, it was like one of those things I had always wanted to do, but I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to move. I just didn't want to go to Reading.
Do you remember what year it was?
1971, when he called. 1972, we went to the Indy 500. We won it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Do you remember what employee number you were? The reason I asked that, I ran into a guy the other day. He worked at Roush Industries, and he started there around 1984, I believe he said, and he's in his 80s, and he said he was employee number 45.
I thought he said 48.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
close enough.
You know, there was back then, you know, there was Penske Chevrolet, and there was Penske this and Penske that, but the race team, there was only 19 of us.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so I guess I would have been 19.
Okay, yeah.
we didn't have any numbers, but it was and I started the same year as another guy that went the whole distance with Roger too, and that was a guy by the name of Dan Luganbuehl. Everybody in racing really knows that guy because he was a PR director, right? And it was pretty good.
What year was that again?
1972.
Oh, okay. And I was I was 1 year old.
I was 1 year old.
Traci was 2. I got me an older woman, by the way. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so that's how it started.
Yeah. And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
And he paid you plenty.
Yeah, and he paid me, and you know we got. Yeah, it was a 47 years.
Yeah, how about that?
How about that?
That's amazing.
And well, it was years later. Well, it wasn't too much later that Rusty came in. Right?
Well, see, Rusty, it's a funny thing, but David, I told you this one before, but you know, Rusty, I met Rusty because he was my paper boy.
How about that?
Honest to God, it's the truth.
Yeah, because he's from the same area.
Fastest paper boy in town.
And you know, he stopped one day and he goes, "Hey, what do you do?" And I didn't know him from Adam, you know. Yeah. And he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I work with a racing team." And he goes, "I know. I saw that trailer out in front of your house the other day. It said Penske Racing. I know who those guys are."
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
how about
Okay.
that?
It's hitting you up.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of that. Then I went and saw him race at the local short track, and
The 66 car.
yeah, his dad gave him that thing. It was an old Chevrolet. I can't remember what, maybe a Chevy 2 or whatever. It was a converted dirt car, and so they ran it on asphalt and dirt. And he won his heat race that night,
So how about that? So I was talking to, what year was that?
Oh my God. I don't know. It was while we were in.
That's when he had a
St.
big
Louis.
afro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was.
Oh yeah, I've seen the
That's
pictures of him.
what we called his nuclear hairdo, because it looked like the top of his head had exploded.
And then
good.
wasn't it 79 when he came to Atlanta and ran second? I was at that race.
Yeah, 1970. No, with 1980. 1980,
number
and
16.
we built that car. We built that car at Penske Racing, and it was just me and Jay Signori and another guy. I can't remember his real name, but we used to call him Red Man. And we got the car pretty much ready to go. And then Roger said, "Where are we going to race it?" And I said, "We're going to race it at Atlanta." And he said, "Well, who's going to be the crew chief?" And I said, "Well, can I pick the crew chief?" And he goes, "Yeah, you did everything else." And I said, I think we should have Tex Powell. And Tex Powell is a really good friend of mine for a long, long period of time, kind of like me and Kenny.
Does he do gears or transmissions?
Yeah, he designed the Tex transmission,
Okay.
when most of the racers run. And he said, "Okay, I never heard of the guy." And I said, "Well, he's good." And he came to Penske Racing, and of course everybody up there was all buttoned up, clean shaven, just like they were in the Army. And
Sure. Yeah.
and in comes Tex, and Tex is a Texan.
There's
You know
a
what I
reason
mean?
they
Got
call
his
him
boots and
Tex,
his-
right?
and his Levi's and kind of tousled hair, and I love the guy. He's perfect, but he can do anything. But the one thing, Dave, that you would really appreciate was the one thing that shocked everybody at Penske Racing was we had this car that was all slicked up, it was still in primer, and we were putting the final details on it, and you know how you have to put the receiver in for the fuel tank, right? Well, at Penske Racing, they would have drilled a hole and then used a special cutter and make a perfect circle and everything. And Tex is going, "We're running out of time," and he grabs this this drift pin was about maybe 18 inches long and a hammer, and he goes, boom, pokes a hole in the side of the body, and then takes a 10 snips and cuts the hole.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my God! Jay Signori went, "Oh Jesus, Don, what did he do?" I said, "It'll be perfect. Don't worry about it."
Oh, good.
You got it full of gas.
Yeah, so the reason I was asking is because I was talking to Sterling Marlin the other day on the phone a couple of days ago, and I told him who my guest was going to be, and he brought up the accident on pit road, and then we were talking about that, and he said, and I said, yeah, it was 1974 Talladega, right?
Right.
And then he said Grant Adcox, and I was like, yeah, okay. So he knew all about it too, the history and stuff.
Yeah, and Sterling and I both have our birthdays in June, and that caused us
I'm a
to
June
have
baby too.
that caused us to have a birthday party every once in a while.
Yeah.
And
good.
he's a character. God, I love that guy.
Yes,
He's funny.
he is.
Yeah, that was he probably remembers that wreck pretty big.
Yeah.
That was a near miss there.
Yeah. So that was okay. So if y'all don't know what the wreck was, it was you were a catch can man on that. Was it 16 car?
we would switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Back then, Gary Bettenhausen was driving, and we had the Matador, and we'd switch back and forth. And the guy that was usually doing the catch can was a guy, was our pilot, Bill, and for some reason or another, he just didn't feel like he could do it that day or whatever. I can't remember. Anyway, I wound up doing it, and me and Nick were doing the fuel back and forth, catch can, fuel can. And it had rained, and we were leading the race with the Matador. And it was kind of one of those deals where, oh, crap, it's going to rain again, and it did. And so they stopped the race, but back in those days, you know, you didn't slow down. You sped up to get on pit road as quick as you possibly could, you know. Well, when it rained, and they semi-dried the racetrack, but they didn't dry the pit road. And so when the race was restarted, we went out and it was running under caution. Nobody wanted to take a chance to come in and have to go to the back of the pack back then. So as soon as they restarted the race, we came down pit road and stopped. And that makes me, on the catch can with my back to the other cars, and Grad Cox, God bless him, came smoking down pit road about 100 miles an hour, right? Loses control of the car. It spun, and when it spun, it crashed into us backwards while we were up on the jack. And it hurt six of us, but it really wiped me out, you know. Got my legs up against the wall, and you know, I was between the wall and the two cars when everything came together, you know. So it was a bad deal. And I'll tell you one thing, though. That's when you really know the other side of Roger Penske, because that guy, he moved when it happened. It was like, I don't know. I you know, believe it or not, I was conscious. And when it happened, the guys that really moved were Buddy Parrott, who was my friend, you know, and he ran back and saw what had happened, took off his belt and made a tourniquet. And I was like knocked out at first and came to, and I tried to get up, and Roger said, "Don't get up. You can't get up." I said, "I can get up." And he goes, "No, you can't get up." He said, "You're hurt really bad." He said, "Do I have to draw you a picture? Your leg is just hanging on by a thread." I said, "Oh boy." And so he got a hold of the guys that were doing the safety guys there, and they actually tore down a part of the fence to get me out and get me into the into the infield
Care Center.
And you know what that's like. You've been there. And the bad part about it was, you know, I was still conscious in that. I went in the infield care center, and I heard the nurse and the doctor talking in there, and a bunch of other people were talking, but they were closer to me. And the nurse said, "You know what? This guy ain't going to make it. What do we do?"
Wow.
And Roger heard him, and he said, "This guy is going to make it. Where's your ambulance?" And you should have seen this ambulance, John. You would have died laughing. You would have bought it. This thing was, I don't know how old it was, but it was like an old Packard ambulance, okay? And they said, we could take this, or we could take this van, they called it. And I remember they loaded us in there, and me and Frog Fagan.
Frog Fagan, worked with him at Blue Max.
Yep. And Frog was hurt too, and put us in there. And Roger said, "I'm going with you. I'm going to ride with you, Don. So just don't worry about it." And this thing is going down the highway and bouncing and rattling and everything. "Are you all right? Are you all right?" He kept saying. I said, "I'll tell you what, we're going to get killed in this thing."
That just tells you how primitive safety was.
Oh, yeah.
At that time, and for so many years when Indy did it right. I mean, crash up there, people are on the spot, but it took years and years for us to get in NASCAR, get on board.
Yeah, it was rough, I'll tell you, but it was. I got to the hospital in Anniston, Alabama, and they had a crackerjack doctor there by the name of Taylor. I was just so lucky. God was watching out for me. And he came in. He didn't pull any punches either. My wife wasn't there. Kathy Penske, Roger's wife, and she came, and then Roger flew my wife down to the hospital, and he came right in and he told me, he said, young man, he said, we got about a 50-50 chance of pulling this off. I said, what do you mean? He said, saving your leg. And I said, I thought you meant I might not make it. And he goes, you're going to make it. He said, there are people who will tell you that you're not going to make it. He said, believe me, you're going to make it. He said, I haven't lost anybody yet.
Oh, wow. How about that?
So,
and I assume the tourniquet probably helped that a lot too.
Oh, yeah, because, they were pouring blood in me. But the bad part about it was they didn't even notice it at the time, but when the other car hit me, the tail light split open, and it put a big gash in my butt.
Oh.
And so they were pouring blood in me this way and just running out the back end. It was a mess.
You still are a mess.
Yeah, I am a mess. I got all these steel pins and everything in me.
But you did have somebody watching over you, for
boy.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
It was a close one.
And to be conscious through it all and know exactly what was going on.
And they said, they told me, they said, that wasn't irregular. They said sometimes when people get in a real bad accident like that, shock takes over. And
Yep, exactly.
You just.
And you didn't feel it.
No.
Right. I was going to say that too. You probably didn't feel at that point. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and we're going to do some shout outs, say hello to our friends. And if y'all have any questions, put a big Q right in front of your comment or question, and then we'll get to those right when we get back from these messages.
Your stomach is growling, and you're
tuning in this evening. It's been a beautiful day. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving, because I know we did too. I probably gained, I don't know, maybe 10 pounds or so, but that's what it's all about, eating and having time with family. And they tell me to sit down, relax, and that's what happens.
So Cratchity's tuned in on YouTube.
Yeah.
He
Will
says he
Cronkite.
was there at that race. They had just pushed our car around the Matador and through an opening in pit wall when Grant came on the scene. It was a hell of a mess.
Will Cronkite.
Will Cronkite.
I know, Will. I read his book.
He read your book.
Yeah, very good. It's a good read.
Yeah, it is. He's a
Yes.
good guy, too.
Yeah.
He's going to
Very
be
nice.
at Stocks for Tots. Did you know that?
Has he been? I'm sure.
Yeah, I think he has before, but he wanted to be there this year. And I said, absolutely. That would be, yeah.
Well,
good
David
deal.
and I will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent him a message, and he said he was asked or whatever. He's going to be there, so we got to do a discussion about it. But I'm gonna have my table set up too, and it's gotten a little bit. I think Phil's coming. Phil, are you coming to?
Yep, I'll be there
All right, he'll be at Stocks for Tots, and that's on November the 7th. I'm sorry, December 7th,
next Tuesday.
Hopefully, Dad will come
which
too.
is maybe he'll
Hopefully,
come.
Dad will come too.
Yeah, he'll come.
December
He will?
7th. That's
Yeah, he'll
Next
come
Tuesday.
ride his
He will.
motorcycle.
next
He'll
Tuesday.
bring his
already.
motorcycle.
Yeah. Next Tuesday at 6:30 is when it starts, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
6:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
So it's 2 wonderful hours of kitty little things to do.
Great opportunity to meet drivers, get autographs.
Yep.
Donate.
Yeah.
If you bring a toy, that's even better. $20 to get in. And that's quite the cheap price to meet all your NASCAR
I
legend
mean, look at
drivers
these
and
wonderful
legends.
people you get to meet for $20.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
legends
like shooting
too.
fish in a barrel, as they always put it, on
Yeah.
the radio. When how
Sure.
can you get that many interviews at one time? And
Right.
all these celebrities and special what they do that, even more special of who's recipients of all this.
Oh yeah, I think that's the thing that everybody misses. I just can't. I can't get my arms around the fact that the most important thing is getting an autograph. I mean, it's important. Don't get me wrong, but the most important thing is what those autographs are bringing, and it's bringing some happiness to all those children
That don't have it.
That don't have it. They won't even have a Christmas in some of those homes. They can't afford it, and this particular event, as John will tell you, it's a one-time deal every year, and they count on it because there's so many children. I've seen it, on both sides of the fence. That the good that it does is just amazing. So if you have no other agenda other than just to come there and bring some happiness to those kids, I think that's the most important thing that we do all year.
And
Yeah.
you were the founder of this, right? Don,
Well,
1989.
Rusty Wallace and I started it, and back in '89, yeah. It's been
And I know the drivers and celebrities, everything, really enjoy showing up and giving. It's quite the spectacular event, really is.
We had it in the Armory in Mooresville in '89, and it was the most confusing, crowded, wonderful. I don't even know how to put it. It was organized chaos, and it was a tremendous success. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget it?
you didn't know where to turn.
You didn't. Yeah, we had this. We had so many people there, and it was such a shock.
Yeah.
And the streets were all blocked, and it was. In fact, the mayor at the time was Joe Knox. Do you remember old
Mayor
Joe Knox? And Joe Knox said to me, he said, "I don't know if we're going to let you have one of those again next year." And I said, "What's the matter, Joe?" And he goes, "Well, you had our streets all messed up, and people couldn't get back and forth." And I said, "And how long did it last?" He said, "I don't know how long it lasts. I went to bed."
We were there way into the night, and the wives were wrapping presents because you bring an unwrapped brand new toy, or you pay the $20, and it's been going on for how many years?
This is the 32nd one.
Yeah, and we raised over $1 million and given over $1 million in toys and gifts to these kids. But if you ever go
amazing.
and see these kids, it'll touch your heart.
Yeah, that's good. I was telling Jeff Lemons, one of my friends, about it today. He worked with us at Sabco, and he was talking about we're going to have to get up some donations and stuff like that. So we're going to work on that for the next week or so. And Bryson, I didn't ask if you were going to be there. Are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
All right.
Being there.
Good deal.
I'm excited. My first one. So.
Yeah, very good. So Bryson here, he's a 16-year-old. Was it Patrick Swayze lookalike?
Yeah.
And but he's a big race fan. He knows a lot about racing and history and stuff, which is impressive. Very good. He went to Martinsville when I was there this past race. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
Wearing his Hoosier shirt.
we got to encourage the next
I didn't
generation.
know if that was old school or new school.
That's
you know.
Chase Elliott. That's
Yeah.
new. Yeah.
Yeah, that's new school.
Yeah. Speaking
Not
of
cool.
Martinsville and short tracks, huh? They're gonna. I read in the newspaper that they're going to reopen North Wilkesboro.
Interesting.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they're
So
I
tearing it
loved
down.
that racetrack. That was so much fun.
You could race.
Yeah.
You could leave your house at 8:00 in the morning and be at Wilkesboro, and you could close the gate and be home and still be daylight. And
Yeah.
you know, if you lived here in Mooresville, so
Yeah. Just pull up on some hillside and park and walk in.
Well,
close the gate when you leave.
Exactly.
you remember? Jim Sutton. I remember us going to
Sonny.
Wilkesboro the first time, and it was my first and last time. I guess would have been '96. I might have went in '95, but I was there with Kyle Petty at the time and studying. We got the Suburban. And we're parked outside. We got there like an hour. Apparently, we got there an hour before they even opened for some reason. It was like 7 or 8 o'clock.
Because
and we got
Sonny
there at
made the
7.
plans.
That's exactly what I was getting at, and that's what happened whenever he would do the driving. So,
That's because he knew how
So-
David runs late behind
Well, now-
everything.
I'll tell you a story about Wilkesboro one time. My daughter was born, I think, on a Thursday, and the race was Sunday. Well, she was coming home from the hospital here in Statesville on Sunday.
yeah.
Well, it's my first daughter, and well, either daughter, anytime.
Right,
But
yeah.
but my daughter Hunter was born, and I'm going to take her home. So we got out of the hospital. The race was starting on Sunday. Got her home into her bedroom. I dive in the car with my father-in-law, head to Wilkesboro. The race had started. He drove up to the back gate. I had my uniform on and everything. I think I took her home from the hospital in my pit uniform. The caution came out. I ran across the racetrack, ran to the pits, put my knee pads on, and they had just pitted the car without me, and I pitted the rest of the race. Ran across the racetrack during the race to pit the car.
How about that? That's dedication.
So just to clarify for everybody that might be listening, exactly when is this Stocks for Tots taking place? December the 7th at where?
December the 7th at the Mack Center, the Civic Center in downtown Mooresville.
In Mooresville.
Beautiful
Okay.
downtown Mooresville.
Charles
Gotcha.
Mack Citizen Center, and right out front of that is our Walk of Fame with all the Hall of Fame inductees in the sidewalk. And there's plenty of parking around there. It goes from 6:30 to 8:30. You can park down behind the Citizen Center and come in through the back, or you can park out on the streets. All the restaurants will be open, so you don't need any food though. You're going to have all these race drivers to meet
Yeah.
and celebrities.
That's
You know
it.
what's really cool about that Walk of Fame? That's become a destination now.
Yeah.
People, the museum, the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame. That museum, we don't have a budget for advertising. So all the people that come there are word of mouth.
Right.
And we get them from all over the world. In fact, we had some in this morning it was. They were from England,
Wow.
and
Not unusual.
and that's not unusual. Like John said, there's people from Poland, and unfortunately we had some from South Africa not too long ago. That's kind of a bone of contention right now. But anyway,
Variant.
Yes.
you have these people coming there, and you ask them, well, how did you find out about us? Well, we had some friends that were here. Where are they from? Oh, they're from Germany, but we talk to them all the time. And they're telling us that they came to see the Walk of Fame.
Yeah. And it just brings them over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
That was our idea to put
That's
it downtown to bring, revive downtown a little bit, bring people downtown and grow it. And we're running out of sidewalk.
yeah, exactly.
So
That little town is just exploding. It's just exploding.
I know one of the things I saw inside the Hall of Fame there, or museum, there's the Penske, not the Penske, I'm sorry. It's the 1989 championship team. There's like a name of all the people there. Because I remember seeing that, and I'm like, hey, I worked with him and him and him.
Exactly.
I talked to John Callis the other day, a couple of days ago, and he actually was talking about showing up here tonight, but I haven't seen him yet.
I saw him the other day at
like to see
the
John.
restaurant.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Really good guy. Yeah.
Yep.
So I worked with Rusty up until 80 to 90, and then that's when Don started Penske South and Rusty. So
We
That's right.
bolted.
I was going to say, you're the one that you started the fight with Darrell Waltrip's crew.
I finished it. I finished the fight.
I finished it.
You about lost a ear.
Still
over
got,
that.
no, I got bit. Very,
Oh, yeah, bit.
yeah, that was quite a quote. But Todd Parrott started the fight, him and Sandy Jones, and I finished it.
There you go.
I felt bad that night, but then I felt better when I got my bonus.
Yeah. You wanna,
Raymond Beadle gave me, I think it was $2,000. We won 200,000, and we each got 2,000, which was a lot back then. So
very good. Do you want to run everybody through that, or you want to talk about it a little bit?
well,
I don't know if
I
everybody's-
just turned around and saw that somebody was beating up on a few of my guys, so I ran over there to let's see, I think it was Todd Parrott. Sandy Jones had Todd Parrott up against the trailer, and I reached to pull him off of Todd, and he bit my thumb. Well, when he bit my thumb, I was trying to get my thumb out of his mouth and was make his head jerk back. People thought I was hitting him in the face. So here comes their body guy, gets me in a headlock, pulls me away. My thumb comes out of his mouth, and my headset comes off, and I'm bleeding on both ears. But he just turned like, where did John go? I had him in a headlock. Well, I was coming with a Hail Mary then. And, so then some 7-foot guard picked me up under the arms and walked me away. And I said, I'm finished.
Yeah.
So,
Lights out.
yeah, you just, when it's the middle of a competition, it's your team. We all do it. I felt bad about it, but it's fun now. Funny to look back.
Right. Yeah. It's a part
We
of
were all
history.
laughing about it the next day at the racetrack.
Sure.
Both teams. I said, biting and racing? There's no biting and racing.
You probably made all the sport clips that the
Yeah.
sports runs all the side video.
And it gets back to Tuesday night in Stocks for Tots. NASCAR is a huge family.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like brothers. You'll fight with your brothers, but you'll take up for your brothers too. So
On that note, I'd like to thank Donna and Charlie Tabucci from Tabucci Technologies. They're definitely interested in coming next Tuesday to the event. And we've got a gentleman driving, Philip Riat, coming 7 hours away. He says he'll be driving down for it.
we'll take him. Tell
We'll
him to
take
leave
it,
early.
yeah.
Traffic.
Absolutely, yeah. Come on
Yes.
into town early and bring a toy, too.
Philip does say earlier that his wife is coming. She's got stage 3 cancer, and she's excited to come.
Keep her in our prayers.
Yep.
And Don is, we're selling 250 tickets in advance.
250 tickets, because those are, you got to think about if you sell somebody a ticket to the thing and you can't get to them in 2 hours, then what, right? So
Exactly.
we're trying to just gauge it so we just have enough time for those people, because we're not gonna let anybody
Now,
down.
aren't you
just-
selling $100 tickets for 50 special people for like a meet and greet with some of the drivers?
Yes, and we are, and that, and they have a special VIP room this year for those people prior to the opening of the event, and that gives them a chance to just relax a little bit inside, and not be part of the.
Yeah, a one-on-one time. That'd be a great
Exactly.
opportunity. And it's a donation, too.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
it's
what
the first
about.
year. It's the first year we haven't had it at NASCAR Tech in several years, but due to some of the constraints and all that, we just felt like it would be a more free flow and have better attendance to have it at the Charles Mack Citizen Center. So we're excited about it.
Bigger and better.
The only downside of it there is we can only have one session of what we usually have is a 2-session thing with all the legend drivers first, and then all the current people, But now we're going to mixed, so
there will only be 250 tickets sold.
that's correct.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
might want to. You can get them ahead of time.
Yeah,
I
you
know
can
You
it-
can
reach out
buy
to-
them now, but you don't have them in your hands until the day of. So
yeah, but,
But
it's,
they'll
it's
be at will
reserved.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Reserve
and they
it.
can find that where Stocks for Tots on
yeah,
Facebook.
and if yes, and the other thing they can do is you can call anyone out there. You can call and get further information by dialing 704-663-5331. And, there's always someone on that phone, and they'll be glad to, give you an update or tell you what's going on. And
What's that number again? 704-663?
5331.
Okay, I'm posting it on the feed so everybody can see it.
Yep, and that's at the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame.
That's it.
There you go.
Probably
And
Sue will probably answer the
Yeah,
phone.
Sue will be there. Aunt Sue.
Yep.
How do you do?
You know the great thing about the Hall of Fame, we got to plug our volunteers because everyone at the Hall of Fame is a volunteer. We're a true nonprofit. Everybody volunteers. If it weren't for our volunteers, the doors wouldn't be open.
That's correct.
The board, everybody. So it's really cool.
yeah, it is.
So
It's
we-
a neat place to go to.
We actually have had a few questions come in as well. So Scott Felthausen says he heard a story that Mr. Miller had owned several collector cars, one of which was a 1935 Packard. Can he tell any stories about some of his early car collections?
Well, that 1935 Packard is gone for quite a long time. I restored it, oh my God, back in the 80s. And my wife loved that car. She said, "Oh, it's just like a Rolls Royce." I said, "Honey, this is not a Rolls Royce. This is better. A Packard is better than a Rolls Royce."
Tank.
Now all these British people right now are loading their guns. Anyway, but that Packard we wound up selling to Andy Griffith.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Andy came down to Mooresville, and in fact, you know Marv Acton and that whole bunch. We had a garage over there with Larry Penn and Beezer and all those guys, And I said, Pat said to me, it was my wife Pat, and she said, if you expect that man, if he's really going to be Andy Griffith, you're not going to take him over to that raggedy old garage, are you? And I said, why not? That's where the car is.
Exactly.
So I never thought this guy would really come, So sure enough, he rolls up with one of the other old drivers that I knew, and he gets out of the car and he goes, "Are you Don Miller?" And I said, "Yes." "I don't owe you money, do I?" He started laughing. He said, "You ought to be on TV." So anyway, he had his wife with him and his dog, and he said, "Now look," he said, "I like the way it looks." He said, "But I really want to drive it." And I said, "Well, that's no problem." He said, "Oh, you'll let me drive it?" He said, "Do you want to hold some cash or something?" I said, "No, get in it and drive it." I said, "That's got that much gas in it anyway." He said, "But I could always, put gas in it and keep going." I said, "Yeah, I suppose you could, but I don't think you will." And he started laughing again, and he said, I like coming down here." He said, "Just like coming home." So he got in that car, and he drove away, had his dog in the car with him and his wife, and they went down Route 16. I don't know where they went, but they were gone quite a long time. Mm-hmm. And I thought, maybe he did put gas in it. Anyway, and I thought, oh my God, what if he ran out of gas?
Oh, no.
That would really be something.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, he come rolling around the corner, and with the Packard, and he stopped outside the driveway. He didn't pull it up in the driveway. And I walked down and I said, "Well, what'd you think of it?" And he said, "I'll take it." And I said, "Well, are we going to talk about the money?" He said, "No." He said, "I got a pretty good idea what you want for it." And he said, "You just tell my guy here what you want. I'll have him make out the check, and he'll be back He'll be back in the next couple of days to pick it up." And that was it.
Wow.
That was the end of the story. He took it, and away
There you
he
go.
went. Yeah.
I remember going up to Mayberry Days up in Mount Airy. Was it Mount Airy?
Yeah, Mount Airy.
Yeah.
Is that where we went?
Yeah, Jeannie Francis was there, but the line
We didn't
was
get to see her. 'Cause
ridiculous.
The line was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was hot.
Thelma Lou, she just passed away.
Yeah,
Oh.
she
Yep.
did. Yeah.
Lived in Mount Airy, so. Andy's from Manio, was living in Manio, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not too far away.
Yeah, he was quite a guy.
I've got a cassette tape my grandmother gave me of him singing and playing the guitar.
Yeah,
he
he
was-
was pretty laid back, just kind of like Joe Blow on the street corner, Yeah,
Very unassuming.
very, very, very. Yeah.
That's good. So on our Facebook, we have, so we're streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Twitter. And
YouTube.
2 different, and on YouTube, of course, on DHammiam. So
Man,
if you're
we're all over the world, Don.
Yeah,
That's
Yes.
right. Yeah. So if you're listening on the radio and you want to
I
see
had
us
a
here,
Twitch once.
yeah, I started doing it on Twitch after Natalie Decker was in here, and she was like, "Oh, you got to get on Twitch. You got to do," and she does it all the time. But she, so I thought I would just try it and see. But I really don't understand.
I don't
it.
understand any of it.
It's like
so,
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's the same difference.
Yeah. So if y'all want to.
Would you like to have your face on a Bitcoin?
Yeah. If you want to switch over to YouTube, I actually have the better camera angles and that type of stuff on there. So, but we do have some comments. One user, it just says Facebook user John and Don. Heck yeah. Jim Smith says great listening to Don again, and another one says tell John Dodson the fly says hey.
Fly.
Yeah, that could go anywhere. So I mean. And of course,
We used to call Brad the Fly. My brother Brad. We used to, remember Scott Beam used to call him Fly.
yeah,
Yeah,
Scott,
you're a pest. Get away from me, you fly.
Aw.
and Scott Beam, he'll send me a message every once in a while on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
Brad bought an old house and it had the old metal doors on the front. It had your last name initial.
Yeah.
And it was an F on there. So we always tried to figure out who owned that house. Was it Floyd's or something? And Scott Beam said it's Fly. Right there, Fly. So he's called him. That's been Brad's nickname for years.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought I remembered that. And then, of course, Scott Trevison's down there in Florida,
Awesome.
tuned in.
On his boat.
And, yep. And thanks to Donna for the super chat the donation.
So Donna
$5.99.
Tabucci asked a question. Has anyone ever heard of the Charlie Tabucci 46 Ford Coupe? It set speed records from 1955. The 46 Coupe from Charlie Tabucci, and apparently was stolen in 1985, and they just found it and recouped it.
Wow.
Last
Well,
year, brought it home.
Was that a Bonneville car?
I don't know, Donna. Is that a Bonneville car?
I was assuming when she said that.
Well, now you know that the yellow flathead street rod in the Hall of Fame is where Don set the record at Bonneville in a flathead Ford.
153 miles an hour and change, as Kenny would say.
You walk over and look
Or
in that
heavy.
thing, you're like, really? You run 150 miles an hour in this?
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool deal right there.
You start shaking.
Yeah, Rusty said one day, I said, would you ever want to run it? He said, are you kidding? He said, that's like going 150 miles an hour in a stagecoach.
That's exactly right. And if you come to North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame, you can see that car and look right in there where Don sat.
Yeah.
It's cool.
The seat's cleaned up.
Every time I walk by it, I just shake my head like, I can't believe he did that in this car. That's quite an accomplishment, Don.
Well,
That is.
I'll tell you what, I love that place. I love Bonneville. That's one place that there is no comparison.
Huh.
It's no place on earth like it.
I've never been there. I know a lot of people that have been, but
Yeah, it's just
not.
it's a one of a kind.
Yeah.
One of a kind.
Been to Salt Lake, and I regret not driving out there to see it still.
Oh, that's right. And people don't realize it, but when that, like if there's a little moisture in the air, that place is as slick as ice.
Really?
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Wayne Jessel still goes out there.
Oh
and
yeah,
runs.
yeah. And Wayne
Yeah.
just, I was just with Wayne a couple of weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago or so. He just set another couple of records
Yep.
out there with his pickup truck.
Yep.
It's a Dodge pickup, and he pounded out 200 miles an hour with that baby plus, and he's a great guy. He's a really good friend.
Yeah, great guy. Sadly lost his lovely wife Fran last year.
Boy, oh boy, yeah.
Wayne's been
Wonderful
around.
guy.
Wayne's been around a long time.
Yes, he has.
I had Nick Ramey. He went out there and he took his race car, but he had his race car. I had a container in my yard and he had his race car parked inside there for probably a year or so. And I never told anybody what was in there, but that's what it was. And he got it out. It's like it's an old stock car, NASCAR race car.
I was always fascinated when Bobby Isaac and Harry Hyde went out there in the Daytona Dodge to set all the records they set. It was just, to me, I remember as a little boy, fascinating. I think that might have been 73, 72 or 3.
Yeah, and Aaron Brown and his gang up there in Denver, the Denver of the East, they made a kind of like a replica car and went back out to Bonneville with that, and took Buddy Parrott and a couple of the other guys out there with them, and they went just as fast as they did before, and I think they might have went a little bit faster.
Okay. Was that the Donnie Allison car or not?
No, it was the Dodge, the number 71 car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think
the
we
wing
could
car?
we could drag your old car out and go out there and make a run and go faster?
No, I could,
somebody nutty enough to drive.
I could
So
go
who's
out,
going to drive it?
Yeah.
I could go out
Seems a
there
little
and do that, and then I'd have to pack my bag and leave my house because my wife,
Pat said you're done with
Pat
that.
would say, "You're done doing that, Don."
Sure.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to Racing Roots with Hamm. We got Don Miller and John Dodson in with us this evening, so we'll be right back. All right, we're back to Racing Roots with Hamm right here on 550 AM 92.9 FM. And I've got Don Miller in here, legend from NASCAR, and John Dodson as well. And Don Miller was the longtime president, right, at Penske. How long were you president over there?
I don't know. As long as he let me. No, I guess it was 10, 15 years. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Penske Racing South.
So were you there, let's see, about 5 years ago maybe? No, you wasn't there.
No,
Okay.
I left in 2008.
It might have been 10. Okay, I don't know. You know how the older you get, the years start flying by. Well, I was over there changing water pumps on Keselowski and Logano's cars, and John Erickson walked up, and he's like...
I was still there then. John and I left at the same time, yeah.
He walked up with someone else, and there was like two other guys in suits or whatever dressed up, white shirts, and so I was wondering if one of those was you, because I immediately felt like, I better straighten up. But he was like, "What you been up to, trouble or something like that?" And I'm like, "Listen, I ain't never caused any trouble."
Can you believe that?
Well,
right?
wait a minute. If you believe that, I got this really neat bridge in Arizona I'd like to tell you.
I'm sure. I am sure. But off the air, I did tell Mr. Don that Stephen Knipe was talking about the Bumblebee incident. And Stephen, he says he remembers that.
At Wilkesboro.
Oh,
Yes,
boy.
at
Yeah,
Wilkesboro.
I do remember that because that was one of my other jobs. I was a spotter, you know. I remember that very day because, you know, when it was back in the day when you were spotting on top of that roof, you know, you had to go up that shaky old rusted out ladder on the back of the building. Do you remember all that stuff? Get up on top of the roof, and once you were up there, you were up there, and that was it. You weren't going down, you know, until the end of the race. So, and we got attacked by bees that one night. I had some brake clean in my bag.
Oh, yeah.
In my radio bag, and I pulled that out and I started spraying those babies, and they were all laughing. Everybody, give me some, give me some. You know what, that place reminded me of another quick story I want to tell you.
Yeah.
We, you know, we always had good communication, you know, Rusty and I, and we were leading the race. And, you know, then Earnhardt come up and he started banging on Rusty, and then Rusty started banging on him, and then they're coming together, they're tearing the hell out of the cars, you know, and I got on the radio and I said, "Rusty, what the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm selling T-shirts, leave me alone." I love it.
That's a good one.
And then Gordon came around, both of them, and won the race.
Oh my gosh, I bet they were both mad about that.
We won up there with Rusty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gordon sells T-shirts too. Yeah. We won.
Yes.
We pitted with Rusty. This is '88 or '89, and I think we were 8th. We come into pits. It was a caution with 13 laps to go. So I go to Jimmy Maycar, who's a front tire changer, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna tighten 4 lug nuts." He said, "I'm gonna tighten 3." We tightened 3 lug. There was 12 lug nuts tight on that race car.
Yeah.
We beat everybody out of the pits. By the time they dropped the green flag, it was only 8 laps to go. Won the race, and we were in victory lane, kneeling down, putting lug nuts on my fingers. Everybody's like, "This amazing pit crew here. If I only knew." Now they know. 12 lug nuts.
Statute of limitations.
That's right.
Yeah, I said, "Well, get them tight. I'll tighten 3 too." So we won the race.
That's cool. Yeah.
So there is a question about the tickets. Donna's asking, can she buy some tickets and donate to the kids?
Yes.
Does she mean donate the tickets to the kids, or
She can buy the tickets and just not use them, and that would be a donation, really.
Yep.
Or she can just dial that number 704-663-5331. Get a hold of Sue,
Sue?
and Sue will tell her where to mail a check for
Okay.
Stocks for. Just make the check out to Stocks for Tots. Believe it or not, they have
Okay.
their own account.
Yep. And let's clarify something. So the kids don't come. We don't identify these children.
Right.
So they don't come to the event. So if that's what she's thinking. But by making the donation, the kids are the recipients of
Exactly.
this. So we don't identify them. Or,
Okay.
We don't even see them. Sometimes they'll have a family when we deliver the toys to the
Correct.
center, and we'll see a few kids like that.
Yeah.
And then we could go to the homes, but to the public, this is.
Right.
And
It's all
probably-
100%.
Yeah.
100% of everything we raise goes to everything
those
we
children,
raise. We
yeah.
pay for everything, and we pay for all the expenses and all that. Everything we raise goes to the children.
Okay.
If someone decides to bring toys, it's an unwrapped toy they bring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
new toys.
We'll take all the toys and whatever that
Unwrapped.
Yes,
they can, unwrapped, so they can tell whether it's a boy or a girl. You know, when they're making the donation to the children, the center will take care of that. You know, but yeah, and you know, it is Christmas, so toys. Yeah, toys.
So can they donate clothing as well?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
People do. You know,
children.
Yeah, for
children's
kids' coats and things like that. That's
stuff.
what I'm thinking.
Basic.
I'll plan on having a bucket set up or whatever, so people can come by and drop money in too, right? We do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they do, and they also have, you know, some people bring bicycles. I mean,
yeah.
it's stuff that you would never expect, you know. But boy, it's so important that we do something for these kids. It is.
We have a lot of race drivers, you know, celebrities that they might not make it, but they will call and say, "Hey, can I drop some toys off? I've got my," you know. And a lot of people never know who they are.
Exactly.
You know who they are, but you'll never know.
Right.
And
but you won't say.
They make it their point to go out and buy these bicycles and things like that. And, wow, where do we get these great gifts?
Well, I know David and I are honored that we were asked to come as well
Oh, we're
and
excited
participate.
about having you guys.
Yes,
Yeah, it's gonna
absolutely.
be fun. It's a fun night.
I'm absolutely looking forward to it.
There's 250 tickets. In the past, has that been just many more? I'm wondering, you know.
Well, the problem is, like Don mentioned,
Right,
we can't
room,
get
yeah.
that. We can't get that many autographs through in 2 hours of signing autographs. So we have to limit it now.
You know
So
what?
people-
That's about the same as we did before because it was 2 sessions.
Okay.
So they brought them in the first session. They had 2 hours, right? And then they used that same ticket to go to the second session, and they had 2 hours. So we could still only sign so many things.
Right.
And that's only fair to the guys that are doing the signing too. You know, the drivers. And you know, the other thing that we gotta remember, there's a lot of different race car people going to be at this event. Every year, you know, we have, you know, championship drag racers. In fact, this year's NHRA Pro Stock Champion, which is the toughest class in drag racing, the champion this year is from Mooresville.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, the world champion in Pro Stock is from Mooresville.
So hopefully that's going to be there.
And that's Greg Anderson, and he will be there.
Nice.
And his engine builder, Jason Line, will be there too.
Okay.
So that's going to be, and remember, over the years, who was your favorite super stock guys? I mean,
Well, we've had Shirley Muldowney.
yeah,
She
oh,
came.
we've had, yeah.
Shirley
Yeah.
Muldowney's been,
And we had
King
Sox
Richard
and Martin.
Petty's been, and Buddy Martin from Sox and Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're going to have Foley this year, who's a AA fuel guy, and that's the top class, you know, AA fuelers.
Elliott Forbes Robinson.
Yeah.
You just, you know,
Yeah, he's a sports car
How about
champion.
Frank Kimmel? I think he's going to come.
Yeah.
I talked to Jeff Lemons, called him this morning, and he was out of town, but he.
Boy, if Frank Kimmel comes, that would be good. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's a good guy. Him and his brother, they were great. They won more ARCA races than I think. I don't know.
they got to have some kind of record in there.
Oh, my
Well, if you need more
Arca
people, I
Kings.
can get people that have been in on my show to come.
Yeah,
too,
call him up, tell him to come over.
most likely. Yeah, I know Busher's coming, right, Chris?
Yeah, he called today and said they called him and he's got to do a test on that day.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
All right.
that's why Josh Berry hadn't answered me yet. He said if there might be a test. So we keep trying, you know, but
Yeah.
schedules.
There's so
Well,
many.
maybe Don can get Dad to come, and Dad will give out his signature to
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Get Dad out there.
There
Come
would be
on,
a
Dad.
lot. There would be a lot of people that would know Kenny. You know,
Yep,
they'd
a
say,
lot of
Kenny
people know
Thompson.
him.
Yeah, I know him.
I can show
KT.
him off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way
KT.
around? Does he show me off or do I show him off?
I think you show each other off.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Traci talks pretty proudly.
Yeah.
Well, she should
She
be. He's a
should.
great guy and a great fabricator. He's one of our racing,
Legends.
big part of
Yeah.
our history.
Scott Trevison says, always have, if you hadn't read this, I was
I
working on
didn't.
something. Always have great memories of Barry Dodson. He was our crew chief, win with KP, and won his last race in 1995 at Dover. Yes.
Dover,
Please
yeah.
ask John what he remembers of the day.
Oh, I remember it well. I wasn't at the race because I had quit traveling by then, but I built the tailpipes that cracked and fell off the car and made Kyle sick. So that's what I remember is what happened to my tailpipes. But Kyle drove his butt off, and that's the day that Barry always tells a story that he laid down on the toolbox and he said a prayer because he'd recently lost his children and said, what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? And he said the sun came out and we won the race that day.
Yeah.
Last race that Kyle won, last race that Barry won as a crew chief, and we won as a family. So, good times.
Very
Good times and bad times we've had, but most of them are good, right? Doug?
Yep.
I started going to the track right after that because I was working at Savco at the time.
Yep.
And I would be over there filling out my application or, for my license. And then I'd have a machine over here boring lifter bores. And then one time I forgot to lower the speed when I switched to reamer. And then I was filling out my application, Doug Hess.
Oh, yeah.
He was just like, he about went ballistic on that because he's like, he didn't want me going to the track to start with because
Right.
he wanted me to be a machinist, and that was it.
Yeah.
But,
So you double whammied right there.
I did, yes. Oh, my gosh.
So
And-
Don Mary Lutz says, please tell Don that Rick and Mary Lutz says hello. If I said that right, Lutz, Lutz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
Rick and Mary. Yeah.
And and when you told me that about the pipes, remember at Darlington, I had jacked the left side of the car up, and I missed the stop. This is the only time I ever
Jacked
missed
the
the
pipe
stop in
flat.
7 years. And I hit the skin, and then it finally caught the second bar, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it just jacked the car. And so when Kyle got out of the car at Darlington, he sat against the pit wall, and he's just putting rags on, and he's just like so overcome with. I thought it was all the sand blasting from me jacking the car up, but
Fumes.
yeah, when you told me about the fumes on the pipes, I felt a little bit better. But
Yep. Hey,
oops, combination there. It happens.
They say it happens. It happens. And like I said, we were much more primitive back then in things that we did. And, at the time, though, we were top shelf.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And we only had about 20 employees, it seemed like.
Yeah, I went to the test the other day at Charlotte, and I walked around, and there's more engineers there than anything, just tables and, a whole section of engineers in a car and another section. It just amazed me at
Computers.
where we are now.
And they didn't even have a train there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd they do with all those engineers?
I don't know. No train, no
No
whistle.
firemen.
That's
telling
funny.
you.
That's one of the things I was talking to Sterling one day last week or something, and he said something about that. He's like, train drivers. I call the engineers train drivers. Yes.
So, John, there is a question. Mr. Will is asking, can you bring toys to the NCR HOF towards the end of the week, or do they have to be delivered to Mooresville?
Can you bring toys to the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Towards
there's
the end of
two
the week.
great big bins there, you know, at the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame, where people just bring their toys and just put them in there, and
Yeah.
they don't go to the event, but they want to give to the children, which is really good. You know?
You can
Yeah.
drop them there. You can drop them at NASCAR Technical Institute. Just go and say, I got toys for Socks for Tots. We have a bin there. And if it's not too much trouble, we'll come pick it up.
I would say you could drop them here, but it would have to be between 6 and 10 in the morning because it's closed pretty much the rest of the day. So that might be a little bit tough. Hello to
You can bring them to my work.
Loftus Outdoors. That says hello from Troutman up the road from y'all.
And the other thing is, we will take toys up until Christmas. We don't have to, there's no deadline. Next week, it's nice to have them because I don't know how many carloads we took last year or year before. Last year was COVID, but the year before to the center, but we'll take toys.
Yeah, and we take it, and, like John said, even after we've made what we call our final run to the Children's Center, we made another one, didn't we?
That's right. I think we had 5 carloads.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe. I wish we had the picture we could put up of
And
the
we have
toys.
a little truck that we borrow from Penske Racing, and we load that up with toys and that's the main run. You know,
That's not counting
sure.
the money we
Yeah.
raise. That's just the toys, which is tremendous. But
Well, if anybody in Statesville wants to feel free to donate a toy, they can bring it to my work. I work at Carolina Tan on Broad Street, right
Well,
next to
that'd be
Planet
nice.
Fitness.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to accept it on behalf of you.
It's the
drop off a
thank you.
toy, get a tan.
There you go.
That's it.
To-
winter
you
Tans
go.
for toys.
That's a good idea. Yes, it's at the Carolina Tan Shopping Center, formerly the Bilo Shopping Center.
Right beside Planet Fitness.
Yes. What about Roush Yates Engines? Are they involved in this?
Not necessarily, but we'd love to get Doug Yates over there. You know, Doug's a great friend, a great guy, and
Yeah.
see if we can get him over there.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Don't know for sure yet.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We got some
Hopefully.
tentatives and schedules, just like he said with Chase a while ago. So
Okay. Well, if you need help with that too, I can work on that as well.
So approximately how
people?
many on the roster for right now?
There's like 57.
That's not a bad turnout.
Oh yeah,
no, it's pretty good.
57 of the VIPs. You know, of drivers and crew
Nice.
chiefs, and you know, of all the sports. We even have a race car driver from England
Oh,
who's in the States right now, and he called up and said, I'd like to sign.
nice.
So we're bringing him over. And I can't,
Very
for the
nice.
life of me, think of what his name is. Maybe Sue will be listening tonight, and she'll call you and tell you.
Well, I'm sure we'll recognize who he is if he just talks.
Yes.
Exactly.
At the benefit. Just
Yeah.
talk. We'll
And
know
I'll-
who you are.
Good day, mate.
Yeah. Hey, Mick.
It's a reunion for us too. You know, it's always a reunion each year.
Oh yeah, and speaking of reunions, we're talking about having one with Sterling in January. By the way,
It'd be fantastic.
I know that was just a little bit. You were in that transition time, but hey, Sabco. There's gonna be a lot of people from Sabco there.
Yeah,
So,
and
anyway, sorry.
there's another guy that's been going to the Stocks for Tots events for a long time, and that's Doug Herbert. You
Doug's always been
he's
for years.
always been there. He's a really good friend, and he's
Good guy.
a cranker, buddy. I mean,
Breaks. Is Mimi coming?
I don't know.
Maybe she'll
Sometimes
come
she
too.
comes with him. Sometimes she doesn't.
Yeah, but he has the breaks, which is
Mimi makes him come.
is,
if he
yeah,
doesn't.
that's right. That's it. Yes, Mimi Sabatas.
He does a wonderful job with that brakes thing. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I made my kids go.
Yeah,
My grandkids.
sure.
I said, and they said, "Well, Grandpa, you know." I said, "No, you're going."
Then they had a ball, didn't they?
And
after
they had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did.
And learn stuff that can take them through their whole life, and they
Yeah.
can teach their kids, and so on. Because his, if you don't know Doug Herbert, his two sons were killed in a
Absolutely.
accident in their car together.
Terrible,
Yeah.
terrible thing. You know, one of the funny things that Doug Herbert did. We had an event at the museum for drag racers only, and Doug brought his AA fuel dragster to the museum, and I said, "Oh, that's really nice of you to bring that over." And he goes, "Oh no," he said. Later on this afternoon, he said, "I'm going to fire that baby up, Don." I said, "I said the people here in
Close us down.
I said,
Yes.
"No, they'll love it." So anyway, things went along pretty normal, and then my wife came over, and she was meeting the people and everything. And Doug says, "Hey, tell Pat to come over here for a minute." So I told her, I said, "Pat, you know, Doug wanted you to come over by the car." "Oh, okay." So she goes, and you know, she's been going to the races with me for a long time, knows all about drag racing. And he said, "You ever driven one of these, Pat?" She goes, "Of course not." And he said, "Did you ever sit in one?" And I didn't know it at the time. She said, "No, but I'd like to." She said, "Shirley Muldowney was one of my favorites." So, so Doug talked Pat to get into it and sit down inside and everything, and then he told the guys.
Fired up.
Fire
She
it
didn't
up.
even know. She didn't know, and they fired that thing up. And when it lit off, it just about jumped off the jack stands, you know, and she was like, "Whoa!"
Well, those things are amazing. It's like one cylinder has as much horsepower as a
It's
NASCAR engine.
violent. It's
Yeah.
violent.
Yeah.
10,000 horsepower.
It's
in one
crazy.
of those cars. That's insane.
Yeah.
Crazy.
0 to 300 miles an hour, in 1,000 feet.
Seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000 feet, not
3.5
1,320.
Yeah.
That
One of-
sounds like my kind of driving.
one of our, yeah, there
And,
you go.
and when they fire it up, that smell, I don't know how those
Oh,
guys
my
can work
God.
over those engines and breathe.
Right.
I mean, it takes your breath right away the first time it burns you.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that gets me the most, and because I admit it, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool drag racer. I'll always be a drag racer. But the thing that always gets me is when you go, if you ever get the chance to go to a big time NHRA event and the fuelers are there, and in these cars, even more so than the funny cars, these cars are so raw. And if you're like even 300 feet away at the starting line, when they fire that thing up, you can feel.
Oh, yeah, you're
Trust
inside.
me.
You can feel it in your chest.
Yeah.
You get the pounding of
Yeah.
because it just vibrates the air all around it.
I actually mentioned that on the air last week, I think it was, or the week before.
Yeah.
First time I went, it was Herbert. Stand here by the tree.
Yeah.
It was funny cars.
Wow.
So I'm standing here and said, you better hold, putting your hand over your ears. And we were standing, 15 feet away. I was standing here when they took off and finished. I was standing over here. It shook me across the ground. They run 2 times and I got nauseated. I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I tapped out and went up top.
I was
Almost
burning.
blurs your vision a little bit if it shakes
And
you so
the
much.
drivers
Exactly.
black out for a moment when those things take off from the G-forces.
I bet. Shoots all the
I
blood.
really just love it. It's just amazing.
It's violent.
One of our listeners is Jeanette Thornley, and she married to Buddy Foss. Buddy Foss worked, NASCAR
Yep.
years ago, and he's a crew chief for her too. But she races the Harley Davidson nitromethane bikes that go over 200
Nitro
mile an
Mama,
hour.
right? Nitro.
Yeah, Nitro Granny is
Nitro
her.
Granny.
Nitro,
That's right.
but you know what?
Yeah.
I really totally respect those people. I mean, I think
Takes a
they
lot of
might be
cunningness.
certifiable because to get on one of those, they got to wear a flak jacket because you're laying on the tank,
Yeah.
and when you take off, I mean, anything can happen. You're
Exactly.
you're riding a rocket.
Yeah.
Like a skateboard.
Grenade.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a skateboard with an engine.
That's it. I told her I wouldn't do 2 wheels. He's a different kind of person.
So John Scott Trevison does have a question. He says, I always have great memories of Barry Dodson. He was our crew chief with KP, won his last race in 1995 at Dover. Please ask John what he remembers of that day.
I think I answered that a while ago.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't hear it. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's good. What else was there?
But at least he got answered.
And who was it that asked about the yellow car?
Oh, yeah.
I want to clarify that yellow
Clarify
car.
that,
That
So
would be
the yellow car I was talking about is
Donna
Don's.
Tabucci.
Yeah, Tabucci. That was I was talking about Don's yellow car,
Which
Okay.
is
was
a
the
29 Ford. Yeah.
29 Ford Coupe.
Okay.
29 Ford
Yeah.
Roadster.
It's yellow, so I apologize for confusion.
no
there.
problem.
Clarify.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Jana was saying, ask Mr. Don about a favorite story about his good friend Russ Wallace, because she goes to dinner with Judy from time to time. Lunch, I'm sorry.
Oh, Russ.
Oh, Russ. Well, I'll tell you about Russ. Russ was probably one of the unsung heroes of automobile racing. That guy was absolutely phenomenal on dirt, and he made no bones about it. He said, "I'm done. I'm not going to go anywhere else. I want to finish my career right here, at Tri-City Speedway." And he was a phenomenon. The guy won, I don't know how many races, and that's why all 3 of the Wallace brothers, they got it from Russ. They really did. Kenny and Mike and Rusty, all of them.
Oh, Russ was tougher than a Dodge truck, wasn't
Oh
he?
boy, he was tougher than a
Just a
bumper.
bulldog.
Yeah. I actually picked up my phone earlier to send this link to Kenny, and then it just totally left me.
So
Which
when
is
you
what
met
happened.
Herman.
Herman. We all call Kenny Herman.
Yeah. So when you met Rusty as the paper boy,
Yeah.
were you aware of Russ at that time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because we lived in St. Louis, and St. Louis, well, actually St. Charles, St. Louis, it's all the same to me. But because I was a racer, and I talked to all the local guys, and the guy that brought him to my attention right off the bat before I ever even met Rusty was our fire chief in Creve Coeur, is a little town that we lived in, was a guy by the name of Charlie Chase. And Charlie Chase told me about Russ. Charlie Chase was, he's not only the fire chief, but he was like the mayor. I mean, he knew everybody, knew what they were doing, knew what was going on. And he used to pull the fire truck up in front of my house and blow, get the siren going, and my wife would get great. Oh, Charlie's out there again, Don. So, it was really wonderful.
I saved this. We got this here.
Oh yeah, there she is, the 40 Ford.
Spirit of Mooresville.
I almost forgot about it. I had it sitting behind me. I grabbed it in my shop.
Mooresville won out of all the cities they went to.
Yeah.
Mooresville was voted the best stop of the whole race.
Oh.
So they got the award for that. And we went over and presented it to the mayor.
Yeah, and you know
Nice.
what was really amazing about that? I could, I figured we were going to get because we were here, we talked about it, remember, Dave?
Yeah, that's right.
But I figured we'd get a fairly good crowd, because I had been in the great race before, and my wife Pat said, "You know what? I hope you're not disappointed." I said, well, "I'm not going to be disappointed. You wait and see." But I was totally shocked when I saw all those people there. I mean, it was packed out, all the way down Main Street, all the way to the end of Main Street, where the railroad station and all that. I mean, it was unbelievable.
96 degrees, and it didn't slow anybody down.
It didn't slow anybody down.
Wonderful.
All they did was sell more beer.
Yeah, I love Mooresville. I lived in Mooresville for, I don't know, 15 years, I guess.
It's really good. That's why I mentioned before, putting that sidewalk in and having that idea to bring more people in and the restaurants and revive our town. And now you can't find a parking place downtown at night. When I moved here 37 years ago, they rolled up the sidewalks at 5. You could go down there.
Yeah.
Set off and
build a campfire in the middle of the street. Nobody'd see it.
Set off a hand grenade and never hurt anybody.
Well, I think years ago, Race City, people always thought just off the exit were all the teams. That was Mooresville. They never really ventured downtown like they do now. But you're
it's
right.
still two sections.
Yeah, sure.
28115 and 28117. But it's a big town now, but you got to get over into the old side of town, the historic side.
John, do you remember when Charlotte was Race City, USA? I mean, I'm going way back because that's where all the teams were.
Way back in the 60s.
That was back in the Home and Moody days.
Yeah, and it was.
And they were out by the airport, though.
Yep.
That's where I grew up. I used to ride my bicycle by there.
I remember the first time I ever went to that airport.
Yep.
I remember this. You get off the airplane, and then you walk right down to this little building.
You walk down the ramp, too.
Because I was from Chicago, and I said, well,
Wright Brothers International.
Wait a minute. Hold on here. Where the hell's the terminal?
I thought this state was first
And
in
this guy was at the gate, and he went, "This is the terminal, boy."
I remember flying to Ontario to go to Riverside when we got off the planes, and you had to go down the stairs. Walk into your
John Wayne.
Everybody
John
missing
Wayne
half the shoes
International.
and things in your bags and all that.
Okay.
That was John Wayne International.
yeah.
I've been by there where it was.
Yeah.
Big Country, Little Country took me by there. Bill Miller.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
we became when Penske and Bahari built, kind of escaping the big taxes from Mecklenburg County. That's how we became Race City USA for Don putting Penske South there. And I lived in Mooresville, commuting to Charlotte for all those years, and then all the race teams moved here, so I ate lunch at home every day for the last 15 years.
Yeah. Did it till I
It's
moved up.
amazing to see it grow, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to see it. This whole part of the country just exploded over the last 20 years. Just unbelievable.
We're the state of racing.
Exactly.
So we have a question from Philip Riot for you gentlemen. His wife wants to make you each a scarf. What are your favorite two colors? John?
Black and gold.
Don?
Dark blue.
And what else? Just
I
dark
should
blue?
have been in the Navy. No.
Shades of blue?
Shade. blue.
Penske blue.
No, you
I'll
never
take
know.
a solid gold. That's my favorite.
It might. You might. I think
Solid
they might be
gold
coming
and a
down.
dark blue.
You hear that, Philip? Let your wife know.
Make it easy on her. Tell her that's awful nice, right?
That's
Don?
right.
So
She's
That
the one
is
with
very
stage
nice.
cancer.
Oh,
Yeah. So
That is
be
really.
she wants to make you a scarf. So
be honored to wear that.
there you go.
And we do have one question, which seems to be the norm question. If you weren't in racing, what kind of a normal job would you have had? That's a hard
Well,
question.
mine would.
You could have been a
even know.
good teacher because you are a teacher.
Yeah.
He likes history.
He's
I
principal.
love history, but I think I would just really like to have been a farmer.
A farmer.
And gardening. You know, I garden now a lot and love what we grow and eat, and I love it. But I'm kind of like Ryan Newman. I'd like to be if I could do it, be a farmer.
Yeah.
Not necessarily cows, but a lot depends on that.
For sure. Self-sufficient. Be outside whenever.
Yeah,
all day.
I just love being outside.
Yeah.
I can't stand sit inside, and when it's beautiful, be outside. So anything outside like that. So
Yeah.
What about you?
Me. Well, I'll tell you what I started off to be. I wanted to be, and I probably would have done it if I wouldn't have been so weak. But I wanted to be an automobile designer. And I went to school and industrial design at the American Academy of Commercial Art and the Chicago Art Institute, and you had to learn how to actually present your drawings. But I was a good artist, and I wanted to do that. But it's funny how your life evolves. I wanted to do that, but all the time I was doing that, back then you had to get drafted or get deferred, and I was deferred because I was going to school. And of course, in order to be deferred, you had to be in the National Guard, all right? And that meant you had to go to meetings once a month, and then in the summertime you had to go to a
Post.
2 weeks of
Duty.
training. Well, and at some military institution, and of course because I was a dyed-in-the-wool drag racer, I used to try and get guys to sign me in at these meetings, and I went to the drag strip, and ran my car, and wasn't too long, and the federal government figured that out. They must have had some spies or something like that. Anyway,
Race fan.
they drafted me, and then I went into service, and then all the original plans went to hell in a handbasket, and away we went.
Yeah, but our jets got quicker when you joined the military.
One thing I'll bring up is I know how you and I talk about history.
Yeah.
This man, this what we were talking about books. He
On the
reads
way
a
here.
lot and history and battlefields and all that. We just love history. It's something all three of us have in common is how much we enjoy history and learn about it and love it. And that's what a lot of our conversations are about.
Oh, we're good.
He started a new channel.
My new YouTube channel is Hamm Discovers History, which
Thank
was
you for keeping it my name.
Tracy's suggestion.
It's good.
Yeah, and it's
I love
about-
military history. I really do. I
same
love
here.
aircraft, especially. All the designs and the different engines that were designed over the years. And
You ever flown in one of them?
oh yeah, I've flown. I flew a B-17 once.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was in an F4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Navy.
That's a bad boy.
I got 4 Fs in the 8th grade.
I was looking forward to them coming to the airport last year, but they ended up having to cancel because one of them crashed. But I was going to go up in one of the B-17 or whatever it was. I don't remember if it's a B-17 or B-15. Anyway, but it crashed before it came here at one of the previous places, which is a shame.
Yeah,
but
they
I'm-
did lose a
I
B-17
know,
a
right?
couple of
It
years
was,
ago. Yeah, and
yeah.
and that's a shame because those there are not that many left, that are
Right.
flying.
I know that's the way.
Flying Fortress.
So I love history so much. Whenever I'm passing an old field and I see a tractor sitting out there rusting away, I'm like, I want to go save it,
Yeah.
And when I work on old tractors, get them running, it's just like a great feeling. I'm like, this is a piece of history right here running. So
I like to
anyway,
stop and read the road, the historical markers on the road.
Oh, yeah.
What does this one say? Slow down. Let me see what it says.
Hey,
What
that's-
happened here?
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
tell
you're
you,
that guy that slows down in
I'm
front
the
of
guy.
them. Yeah.
I am the guy.
Dave,
Or pull off.
you'd be. I just lost a really good friend a couple of years ago, and he collected cars, and he also collected tractors. He's got over 200 antique tractors.
Wow.
That's
I'm
a
on my
lot.
way.
Unbelievable. Up in
We're halfway
Tennessee,
there.
Greenville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just,
You know why? You know why? Because you think back to better times.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. A lot of my customers that bring me
Stuff you
tractors,
understand.
whenever they were kids, their dad had this tractor, whatever. Well, mine is an 8N because that's what my grandmother had,
Yeah, it's a
and
little
my
Ford.
uncle had one. Yeah, so
Is it
I
a
have,
gray one or a red one?
I have a 3 of the red and gray.
Yeah.
The 8Ns. I
Yeah,
have
they
a
had one that was
40.
just gray.
Yeah, that was. I have a
Might have been a 9N.
9N. That's it.
Yep.
And I have a 48. No, I have a 49, a 52, a 53 Jubilee, and then I have a 62 601 Workmaster, and then I have my John Deere, and then a bunch of other stuff. But
You
Yeah.
talk about a Jubilee, you talk about one guy in this room here has a Ford 50th anniversary convertable.
Yeah, it's a beauty. I showed you, Don.
Yes,
That's my
I'm telling
mom's
you,
gave
it
that
is
to me.
stunning.
yeah, talk about that.
53 Ford convertible.
Yeah,
And if you go to Ray Everham is having his online event right now, his Americana. Mm-hmm. I put that car in there so you can go and vote for it and donate
nice.
$5 to autism.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Ray
a
is-
good. Ray will be at Stocks for Tots.
Really?
He's a good friend.
Yeah.
And he's a car guy like me.
Oh,
He's just
Lord,
nuts
yes.
about cars.
Yeah.
He's digging them out of the fields.
Yeah, he's got an old Will Cagle that I remember as a little boy beating my uncle in the tracks upstate New York. I says, that car, I didn't like it as a kid, but I love it now.
Love it
you know?
now.
okay.
Yep,
What's
that'll
that
be
one
an
say?
exciting night next Tuesday night at the Stocks for Tots. Do you have any names you can drop? Drivers is coming and legends?
Ryan Newman's coming.
Yeah, always.
And I mean, there are so many
Yeah.
good
Bobby
people.
Labonte.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there are a lot of the Grand National guys coming too, which is, I think, is really important because they're the stars of the future.
Sure.
They are the stars of the future, and their events are extremely competitive, as they say.
It's really
right.
neat to walk behind the people and listen when they come up to Bobby Allison and say, "I saw you win a race at Bowman Gray Stadium in 1968." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just you see so much emotion come out of people, and so the giddiness of, take them back to those memories, little boy.
You'll have Tiger Tom. Will he be there? Tiger Tom Pistone?
No, I don't
he's
think
coming.
so.
No.
But Bobby's been at just about every one of them,
And Donnie.
and Donnie, and he's like family to me. Bobby is, and Donnie both. But when I was hurt when I was in Alabama, is when you really know who your friends are, because I was so far away from home, and they were there all the time. And Eddie Ellison
The
was
gang.
another one, and of course one other guy. That was just amazing.
Right.
Yeah, he's the only guy I ever met that, as Bobby said, he needed when he would go in the car, he'd always shake the wheel like this, And I said, "What the heck's going
Him
on
and
with him?"
Kale.
He said, "Don't worry about it, Don. We're going to put a oil cooler on the steering box."
There you go. I think you talked about this one, Cam Murphy, Gravedigger.
Oh yeah, Gravedigger.
Yeah,
he's
North
gonna be
Carolina.
there.
Auto Racing
Look at
Hall
this
of Fame.
guy smiling over here. He knows. He knows who the Gravedigger is, huh?
Yeah, whoever runs the North Carolina Auto Racing Hall of Fame page commented that on the Facebook.
Yep.
And my mother, Jackie,
lot of-
great show.
A lot of our NASCAR Tech graduates have been working for the Gravedigger. We had crew chiefs and all there. A lot of them moved out there and went to
That
work
was
for 'em.
probably Todd Morris. Is that?
Oh.
that's him? that the guy?
Yeah, he actually, Todd Morris later on, he says, ask Don what happened to him the night before he got married. Good story.
You know what? That was a frightening story.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but I'll tell you, because I think there's something to be learned from it for all the young people in this country. You know, I'm not very proud of the fact, but I was a street racer back in the day, in the 60s. Used to race for money, you know, drag race, and before I got religion. And and so the police were pretty cognizant of the fact of who I was and what I was driving, because I had a black 57 Corvette fuel injected, you know, and it was highly modified, and it was, as they say, a bad boy. But, you know, I tried to keep it cool around Oak Brook where I worked, and to make this story a lot shorter, I was always leery about, you know, what was going to happen if they caught me, because back then, if you got caught in the state of Illinois drag racing on the street, you got a mandatory 1 year in jail. So they were not messing around. And the night before I was going to get married, I loaded my stuff up, and I was going down Route 83, and there was a whole string of stoplights. And there's this kid that used to come around the auto center in Oak Brook, and he had a 57 Chevy, you know, a red one, you know, of course, and, you know, loud mufflers and everything. I don't know what kind of engine it had in it, but it didn't make any difference.
Not enough.
He would have been beat on the seat. But anyway, I wasn't going to race him. I didn't want to take a chance, you know.
Right.
So these stoplights were kind of spaced. And so I pull up to the stop and stop. Of course, got at the red light, and then when the green, I'd take off, you know, normally, and he'd burn out and, you know, go up to the next stoplight and stop. Even if it was green, he'd stop, because it was late at night. You know, it was, by that time it was like 8:30, and they rolled up the streets back then. So by the time we come to the fourth one, the last one, I was up to my ears with this kid, you know. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. And, well, anyway, the light changed, and I hammered that Corvette, and I went out for about, you know, maybe 100 feet and shut it off. And he just kept on pouring the coal to it, because he was going down this highway, Route 83. And, man, I looked in the back window, in the rearview mirror, and there's the blue lights, you know, and I'm going, oh, no. So I pulled over, and, you know, and the cops, there was two of them, and one of them went after the other guy and stopped him. And so I got out my driver's license, and he came to the window, and he said, "What did you think you were doing?" And I said, I wasn't doing anything. I said, the other guy was doing all the doing. And he goes, "You were drag racing, and I'm arresting you, and we're going to impound your car, and you're going to jail."
Wow.
And I said, "You got to be kidding me. I'm getting married in the morning." He said, "No, you were going to get married in the morning." He says, "You're not going anywhere, pal."
Oh,
So they took the two of us in, booked us, fingerprinted us, did the whole thing. And then I got my one phone call. And so I called my dad.
Oh.
And my dad said, "Donald, you've got to be losing your mind." And I said, "No, I'm telling you, Dad, this is the truth." Yeah. And I said, they got me on $1,000 bond. And he goes, $1,000? I don't have $1,000 here. It's, you know, it's Friday night. He said, the banks are closed. You know, he went around and borrowed money from all our neighbors to get me out of jail that night so that I could get to the church on time, as they say. And my mom, my poor mother, she was like, I knew this was going to happen, Donald.
Donald.
I knew this was going to happen. You're just too wild. And,
So you'll be calmed down once you get married?
yes, yeah, exactly. But eventually he got an attorney, and the attorney convinced the people in the judge that, I wasn't, because I was not, I said I was not speeding. I couldn't have been going 40 miles an hour when I let off on the throttle, and the speed limit was 55. And he said, well, this guy was going 75 miles an hour when we put the light on him or whatever. I can't remember. I said, but I wasn't. And then the attorney said, look, in order to have a drag race, you have to have 2 participants. So he got me off scot-free.
Wow.
We had to pay the attorney and everything, but then Pat and I got to go on our honeymoon, and we took the Corvette. Mm-hmm. And this is how stupid I really was, okay? We took the Corvette, and we were going to go up to Rockton, Illinois, which was a big resort up there. And we were going down the toll road, interstate, going out to 94 north, And I didn't even tell you this one, John. Anyway, this guy comes alongside of us in a brand new Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, the one with the gull wings. Mm-hmm. And I said, look at that car. That. And then he kept going, and I said, Pat said, you're out on bail. I said, I'm going to smoke this guy so bad, he's gonna go home and kick his dog. And we slowed down to about 60, and I downshifted that thing, and I started pouring the coal to that Corvette, and it just drove away from that 300. And then we shut it off about 110 and just cruised down.
On my wedding day.
I couldn't believe it. And then afterwards, Pat said to me, do you know how stupid that was?
Yeah.
Well, I figured
It's a bad thing.
the judge probably left you off when he realized you were getting married, and that was enough of a sentence, so to say.
No, I got a good Irish woman.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful woman. We both did good, haven't we, Don?
Yeah, yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did good in spite of ourselves.
That's
There
right.
you go. All right, I'm going to say a couple of shout-outs right quick because we're going to have to wrap it up soon.
Yeah,
right,
cool.
R.D. Ford's up in New Hampshire, I believe it is. Scott Felthausen's, he says, he said Virginia Beach was where the Military Aviation Museum is. Museum, that is. And Jim Dooley's up in Virginia, tuned in, and he nominated Dickie Dennis to come in and sign autographs. He was the fence climber in 2014 Richmond. Climbed up there, ended up in jail. But anyway,
we need to find the guy who stole the pace car at Talladega and get him to come sign autographs.
That's
That
right.
would be a good one to find.
He's still in traction in a hospital.
Or they beat him to death on the
Yeah,
track.
they did.
Yeah, get them two together on the show. That'd be great. Kim Henry's down in Mooresville, and she says, love the Stocks for Tots event. Volunteered with them for many years.
Yep. She used to work with us at
Oh, yeah,
NASCAR
that's right.
Tech,
Yeah, you'll have to have an amazing time, David and Tracy. Yeah, and Brian Henry was working at Ganassi, so I'm assuming, they actually got another team is buying them now, I believe. Anyway, that's another story that gets into more racing. Steve Knipe says, ask Don if he sold Goodyear racing tires in St. Louis.
Oh boy, yeah.
How many? No, he didn't say that.
Yeah, we owned the Goodyear tire distributorship. It was Penske Tire Midwest.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming out, and we're going to see you next Tuesday at the Stocks for Tots. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. And that phone number again is on here.
704-663-5331.
Yes.
To
that
get
number.
your tickets
Yeah.
Or stocksfortots.com on Facebook.
or to
Tell them
donate.
Tracy sent you.
Tracy
That's
sent
right.
you.
Tracy sent you. And I'll be set up there. I'll have little postcards to hand out and some decals and things like that.
That'd be
So
wonderful.
come on over and see me, and I'll probably try to do some broadcasting. I'm going to see how the signal is in there. I don't know as far as I have my own internet if I need it, but we'll see. we may be doing live or may just do some video.
Well,
Either way.
they have a lot
Signal's
of
good.
capability in
Okay.
that building, yeah.
Yep.
So
Have
it'll
you
be
get
good.
you some cool interviews.
All
We'll
right.
just ride around on unicycles all night, David.
Yeah. They'll be entertaining, so it should be fun. I'm pretty sure a lot of my different friends are going to be coming over, so I know you'd asked me how much room I needed, and I'll have to talk about that. I might need to expand.
We'll add you
if
another
there-
table.
Well,
Yeah.
don't worry. We got it handled. Whatever
Okay.
it takes, that's what we do.
All right, good. Is Larry McReynolds coming, Philip?
You know
He's
what?
got a conflict.
Yeah, he's got a conflict. He's got a Fox meeting in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
he hasn't missed a year in a lot of years. He's been very loyal to coming to it and always helps. Larry,
good
always
man.
good to help. He is a good
He's a
man.
good man.
Okay. Is PRN going to be there? Anybody? Brad Gilly or anybody?
you
Okay.
are gonna
Racing roots with Hamm.
Awesome. All right. We'll get
All
that.
right.
Stocks to Tots night.
Yeah, man. I'm
With
looking
that,
forward to it. I'll
I'd like
be
to
ready.
give a shout out with the
Definitely.
PRN. I was thinking we're talking about our reporter Steve Richards is in the hospital right now suffering with COVID. They got him on a ventilator, so send our prayers out to Steve Richards Leibowitz. Hope
Yep.
he gets well.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
For
good.
sure.
All right, so Scott Trevisan says, great show, thanks. And Scott Feldhausen, save me a couple decals for the work truck, DHammiam. I'll do that. And that was it. So y'all, RD Ford, I remember going to watch the drags, thought the tower was going to collapse. Yes. All right, well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, hit the thumbs up. And if you don't like it, hit it twice. And check out DHammiam.com. And we'll see you next Monday. I believe I'm going to get with Sterling Marlin tomorrow. We're going to do some videos. So I believe I'm going to finally wrap that up for next Monday. So that'll be good. Yeah, Sterling's doing good.
Make sure to subscribe.
Funny as ever. Sure.
Hit your bell notifications.
Yeah, because we
Tell
got to get
Sterling
you.
he can come next Tuesday night. Just comes to town, do your show, and the next night he can do Stocks for Tots.
There
We'd
you
love
go.
to have him.
Yeah,
There
that
you
would be
go.
great.
Yeah.
See if I can get him to come on up here. That'd be good. All right. Well, y'all have a great night, and see if I can see here. Put my glasses on first so I can get the music rolling for y'all once again. All right. Y'all have a great night.
Okay.
Hey, we
thank
got Kayla here from Rudy's Guttering Service. Tell us a little bit about Rudy's Guttering. How long you been in business?
So Rudy's Guttering Service has been in business for 27 years. It is family